Welcome to the Halley Elise Show, featuring your host, empowerment psychic Halley Elise. She is an author, psychic, and media personality, and has been listed as one of the top 100 psychics in America. Empowerment psychic Halley Elise shares the spiritual, metaphysical, holistic, and magical powers of the universe. Follow Halley on her website at HalleyElise.com, and all her shows can be seen via live stream video. Now, here's your host, empowerment psychic Halley Elise.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me here. This evening, I wanted to talk a bit about psychic phenomena. And, I keep telling you folks that on the third Monday of the month, we do the psychic phenomena. So I'm just throwing you off. Actually, I just had a lot of phone calls and a lot of requests to have a little bit more of that type of thing. So I thought, okay, I had some flexibility in the schedule this month and figured we could do it. But before we dive in, obviously I want to hand out the phone number, which is 888-565-1470. Once again, that's 888-565-1470. So if you want to call in for a psychic reading or just say hi, what have you, please do. All right. So I'm just thinking here, there's so many things that I want to cover. There's never enough time. And if you watched me before, I can talk. So I actually want to share information about events that are coming up, which are right around the corner. This is October, and it's a very busy month. It's funny because it seems like it didn't really slow down for summer. And then September, I don't know, was just a little bit more quiet, and then boom, we're off and running. So Wednesday nights are meditation class. So we've already started a new series. If you want to sit in on a class, though, let me know. I'm happy to accommodate so somebody could see if this is something comfortable for them, if it's something that they'd like to pursue. Pretty much anybody who stops by, they continue to come, because it's not just sit down, close your eyes, and go into meditation, but you get all sorts of techniques and all sorts of, if you will, little mini hints that you can implement into your life, not only to meditate or to breathe, but to create more peace, more harmony overall in your world. So again, that's Wednesday night, and just feel free to give me a buzz or to email, whatever is most comfortable. And if you're saying, well, what's the email? It's at the website, HalleyElise.com. There's a contact me or contact us, however the webmaster set it up. And you can go ahead and send an email. And as well, really easy, Halley at HalleyElise.com is one of the easiest things to do. So there you go. Now, as far as some of the other events, I'm actually going to share about a lovely lady who was on with me recently, beautiful artist. She has this amazing transformative art that scientists have proven it literally makes a difference in your being when standing in front of it, and that's Jacqueline Ripstein. She has an incredible show at Books and Books on the 22nd of this month, and if you're not familiar with Books and Books, it is in Coral Gables, so I'm sharing that. I believe there's cocktails too, so might be worth driving to Miami. Okay, then on the 24th, yay, right around the corner here. It's amazing. Where did this year go? Seriously, I am just so astounded about how quickly this year has gone. Anyways, back to events. The 24th, I've had the lovely Connie Martin and Johnny Martin. Excuse me, Johnny. Oh, he's going to get me on this. Jordan is their last name. So Martin Jordan and Connie Jordan. You like that? I'm sure I'll get a phone call later. Anyways, they will be joining me on the 24th of this month. And we are doing a really phenomenal event over at my building in the gardens downstairs, and it's not to be missed. Jacqueline will be there with some of her artwork and introducing her book. You will have Connie there introducing her book. We will have music. We will have humor. We will be celebrating the It's All Good Day, and that it's the 7th annual celebration, believe it or not, of the Martin's young son passing, Andrew. And if you had heard the previous show, you would have heard that he's an avatar. He still is communicating from beyond and sharing amazing things with his parents and with other people. And Martin is a psychic medium. So he will be sharing messages from the other side. I will be giving psychic information similar to my other galleries. You'll have a very experiential feeling, and you will find not only that you're entertained, but that you take something home with you. Did I mention food? That's right. We are feeding you beforehand. So it's really going to be a wonderful evening from 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. And for those listening in at iHeartRadio or WNN, or if you're watching live, I'm going to make you an offer. Today is, I think, the 13th. Wow, have to look at the calendar, but it's definitely Monday. So between now and Wednesday, so that's 2 days, 48 hours, if you would like to join us for the 24th, send me an email, and I will send you a private link. Ta-da, feel special? You should. So that you can join us for $35. Now, if you're thinking, okay, $35, so what? Well, the event is actually $49 if you pay in advance online, or $65 at the door. So this is just for those folks who are listening in and who want to participate and like the idea of getting a little special. So remember, $35 only for the next 2 days. And the only way that you can get this and take advantage of it is if you go ahead and send me an email. So take a look at the website, HalleyElise.com. You'll see the other events. And also on the 26th, so that I don't forget, we have the very special event. I believe it's going into their second annual year, where you learn about spiritual involvement. And we have lots of speakers, and that's on the website too. And I'll be speaking at noon. But there are many other locals that you're familiar with, and some folks that are coming in from out of town. So definitely, again, I'm pushing the website tonight, and I don't often do that. If you listen in or if you watch, you know that typically it's all about our guests or content. But I don't want you to miss anything, and that's about content as well. So HalleyElise.com, and check out our events that are coming up. And again, if you want to take advantage of the 24th at that special price, send me an email. It's only good for 2 days, and I'm sorry, but I won't make any exceptions. This was just for the folks that are listening in, or if you will, participating on WNM. Okay, all of that said, I'm going to give out the phone number again this evening if you'd like to have a reading, if you have a question, if you are curious about psychic phenomena. Perfect time to pick my brain. It's 888-565-1470. So while we're waiting for the phone lines, and it's very interesting because everybody will say, please, please do this. And then sometimes they call and sometimes they don't. So I always find it quite amusing, but we'll see what happens. I wanted to share a little bit about developing your own awareness. You know, if you attend the Psychic Gallery on the first Monday of the month, did I mention that? I kind of did. Yeah, the first Monday of the month, I have my Psychic Gallery. I always give you little, if you will, tools and techniques that you can use to increase your own ability. And what's really fascinating is most people will say, oh, well, you know, sometimes I have a gut instinct, or they'll say once in a while something happens. There's that awareness that there's something greater than themselves taking place, but they don't necessarily tap into it on a regular basis. And it's really nice to know that you don't have to have some sort of laborious task of sitting for hours and hours and hours to try to tap in. Now, when I say tap in, I'm not talking about going into the, you know, delta state or theta state, into that deep, deep consciousness. I'm talking about just within alpha or beta. So those are 2 levels of consciousness. For those who aren't familiar with those terms, beta is your waking state. Like right now, we're talking, we're watching, we're interacting, we're doing what have you. Alpha is more that state of, you know, when you start to drift off to sleep and you kind of hear things, but you don't really pay attention. That's kind of that secondary state. You go into that state when you are really engrossed in something. So, for instance, you're reading a great book and 4 hours go by and you thought you were reading for a half hour. Or you're taking a walk down the street and you have no clue where you are because you were so engrossed in looking at the beauty of the neighborhood or the walk itself, or just even breathing fresh air, that you didn't notice where you were. That's going into alpha. When you're in that state, magic begins to happen. You're able to start to create. But not only are you able to start to create, you are able to tap in to that innate knowing or that higher consciousness. And when you do that, you open that channel for your intuitive awareness. Now, if you're working with chakras, a lot of people say deal with like the crown chakra or third eye. Those are also ways of connecting, of tuning in. And you can do that as well. And there are many different techniques. Actually, I teach a psychic apprenticeship program that goes into many, many different types of techniques, which helps you bring out your own ability. But let's say you just want a quick fix. Okay, quick fix sounds a little funny, but the truth of the matter is there are times that you just want to know something. There is something called the body pendulum. And that's more my term. There are many different terms for probably all the things that I'll mention. But it's one of these things where you literally are able to get information from your body psychically. Now, it sounds kind of funny because you think, well, does that mean I'm clairsentient? It's actually beyond that. It is engaging your entire system to be able to get the information you want. And I would suggest starting out with just yes and no answers because those are the most easy to recognize. So for instance, let's say you know for a fact that your hair is, I was going to say orange or green just for fun because, Halloween's coming up. But let's say it's, let's say it's blonde. And you just say to yourself, what color is my hair? I know it's blonde. And you get just a slight sense of something that takes place near the heart. I'm not quite sure you felt something, but maybe you did. So you're thinking, okay, well, I don't know, what does that mean? So then go to something a little bit more concrete, such as I have 3 children. You'll find that as you affirm the things that are true, that sensation or awareness will become more present for you. So if you try the blonde thing and you're like, there's like a little flutter, but I'm not really sure. And then you say the 3 children thing and you notice, it's almost as if there's some sort of impression or pressure or movement, perhaps, near the heart when I say something positive. Okay, kind of interesting. But you're saying, I don't know if that's just my imagination or not. So then go a step further. Ask yourself something that you know is absolutely negative. For instance, you have a red car and you say, I have a white car. And right away you get something funny at the solar plexus, which is, by the way, located just above your navel. And you're thinking, is that coincidental? Is it my imagination? Again, the reason that more people don't naturally, and when I say naturally, meaning like automatically pay attention to those intuitive nudges, is not because they don't have them, but because they're too busy ignoring them or too busy saying, well, that didn't make sense. How often does something pop into your head and you say, oh, that's weird. Why would I think about that? Instead of recognizing that it's not a part of your normal patterning. So if it's not a part of your normal patterning, then it's coming from somewhere. And I would say more often than not, when that type of sensation, knowing, feeling, thought, emotion comes in, it is because you are sensing something. You are getting a message. So you want to pay attention. But back to the body pendulum. You see, I do that 360 thing. Go around, go away, come back. Anyways, it's really kind of easy. So if you're driving, obviously don't close your eyes. But if you are seated somewhere where you can close your eyes, take just a moment, close your eyes, and ask yourself a positive question, something that you know is an absolute yes. And then notice if you feel it or sense it somewhere. Then do the same with the negative. Again, like if you know that you have a white car and you say, my car is red, notice if you sense it somewhere, where you sense it. And then really take notice of that. Do it several times. Now, let's say you're trying this and you're going, oh, it's a bunch of kaflooey. I am not getting anything. This girl is nuts. She doesn't know what she's talking about. That's okay. You can actually program your body to give you the responses you want. So for instance, you may say that I want to feel something in the palm of my right hand when something is positive. And I want to feel something in the palm of my left hand when something is negative. And you simply do it the same way. You literally make a statement. When I feel something positive, I feel it on the right. When I feel something negative, I feel it on the left. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with the Halley Elise Show and psychic information. Thank you.
Bob, did you see Halley Elise in the paper?
Who?
The empowerment psychic, Halley Elise. They did a 2-page write-up. The columnist was enthralled. Halley went right to an issue that she was dealing with. I'm looking at HalleyElise.com right now.
What are you thinking? Should we schedule an appointment?
Matter of fact, yes. You have issues with Sue and me, my business. Take a look at her background. It's impressive, and she has decades of experience.
I want to put it on my iPad. What's her info?
Empowerment Psychic Halley Elise. HalleyElise.com. 561-755-2166.
Spell it.
HalleyElise.com.
So it's HalleyElise.com and 561-755-2166, right?
561-755-2166. That's it.
You're listening to Empowerment Psychic Halley Elise, and she invites you to visit her website for more information about all that she does at HalleyElise.com. Now, back to your host, Empowerment Psychic Halley Elise.
Before we dive back in, I have to share something with all of you. I'm looking at the screen while we were on break, and just so you know, empowerment really is spelled E-M-P, not E-N. So that's not so much for you folks, but it is for our producing staff that's taking, I don't know, a cocktail at the moment. Because it's spelled incorrectly. Hopefully they catch this, and the next time it's up, it's spelled correctly. Oh my goodness, it's going to be one of those nights. Anyways, when we took a break, I was sharing that you can actually program responses from your body so that your body acts as a pendulum and you can get psychic information. And I was suggesting, for instance, if you want a yes to be the right palm of your hand has a sensation and a no to be the left palm of your hand, you can actually do that. Our systems really are multidimensional. You know, we see a physical body and we kind of take for granted that we live in a physical space and the things that happen to us are all physical. They're not. And we know it, but yet we seem to forget it because we get caught up in our lives. So this is a little tool that's so easy to use. So if you close your eyes and let's say on break, you said, okay, my hair color is green. And you know that it's really, black. And you got this little pitter patter at your heart. You're like, yes, that's a yes, great. But let's say you tried it and you got nothing. And you're going, okay, really? Yeah, okay, sure. In that moment, that's when you say, okay, body, show me a yes. I want a yes to be, and you say what you want. So it could be a warm sensation on your forehead. It can be my big toe on my right foot itches. I'm giving silly examples, but the point is you can direct what you feel and how you feel it to receive information. See, the information is all within you. It is just a matter of knowing sometimes how to access it or remembering to access. I started out earlier this evening saying that, information comes in. Everybody has that awareness, whether you call it gut feelings or a mother's intuition. There is psychic ability that runs through all of us to different degrees. There are ways of building on that. This body pendulum, that's one of those ways. Anyways, let me give out the phone number. I'm curious, is anybody listening tonight? It's really very funny. I'll give the number in a sec. But I look at the stats sometimes. There's the archive on my website that shows the different shows. And it'll say like 2 views. And I'll say, well, that doesn't make sense because I had 20 emails. So obviously 2 views doesn't make sense if there were 20 emails. But what I come to find out is Ustream, that does our streaming for our web TV, only shows you who's watched the show after it was live. It doesn't actually keep track of who watched the show during the show. And then we're on several other places at the same time. So I want to say, don't be discouraged if you go to the website and you're like, ugh, only 4 people looked at that show. I don't want to see it. Go ahead and watch a few moments and decide for yourself if it's something that you like, because it's, I don't know, just the way the web system works. I haven't quite figured that out. Not really my area of expertise. Anyways, phone number. I did say I was going to get that out again. 888-565-1470. That's 888-565-1470. Now, don't wait to the last minute. Last time I was sharing psychic information. There were people calling about 5-10 minutes after the show was over. So you definitely want to call while I'm on the air if you want that information. And kind of keep in mind that if you were to just go to the website and schedule an appointment, it's going to run quite a bit more versus, hi, I'm just on the phone. Okay, that being said, let me give you something else to work with in respect to developing your own ability. Meditation. Meditation, not just for relaxing, not for just managing stress. It is a natural side effect to enhance your abilities when you meditate. And I truly believe a big part of that is you quiet that mind chatter. You know how the mind will think of something and then it's a snowball effect. You think about where you're going or an issue going on in your world or even something that you're excited about, and things just expand and they take over. And while you're doing that, you're hearing things from the other room and you're hearing people outside, and your mind goes into so many different places. We think more than 2,000 thoughts a day. And if you're not familiar with distinguishing between an intellectual thought and an intuitive thought, it can be very difficult to separate the two. And yet, it happens all the time. It's that, and I mentioned before, oh, I knew that. So I want to challenge you. Wake up in the morning and ask yourself, what is something that will stand out today? Simple question. What is something that will stand out today? Whatever comes to your mind, pay attention to, and then look for it during the day. You'll find it gets easier and easier, and all of a sudden you're getting things that are really clear cut. So for instance, if you have a thing for a gal or for a guy, and what pops in is, oh, that guy Joe is going to point me out today to somebody, or I'm going to notice him looking at me, or something like that comes to you, and you think, oh, well, that's silly. He works in a completely different department. I've never even said hello. That doesn't even make sense. Don't dismiss it. Instead, just say, okay, it may not make sense to me, but I'm open to it. And then during your day, be aware. And it may not have anything to do with anybody else. It may just be you. For instance, I need to watch where I walk. Wow, that's an odd thought. Why would that come up? And then as you're walking, you don't realize that somebody spilled something just before you got there. And if you didn't have the awareness that, oh, I have to watch where I'm walking, you would have stepped into it and perhaps slid. So little things initially will pop up, but then big things. And the reason for that is our minds will allow us to direct the consciousness. Higher consciousness, subconsciousness, waking consciousness. There are different levels, and we don't really have enough time to go into the different levels of consciousness and how the brain slows down and how we connect. But I guarantee every single person on the face of the planet goes through the different levels throughout their life. When you stop and just ask yourself for information, you start to go into that alpha state that I mentioned earlier. You start to quiet just for a moment. And if you listen, you'll find that it's a nice place to be. You can say to yourself, should I take that trip? And find all of a sudden you get an instantaneous no, or perhaps that body pendulum jumps in and you get that sensation that you know is a definite no. Or maybe it's not even about you. Maybe you are concerned about a loved one and you wake up in the morning and you ask about them. Will I hear from them? Or will they be passing their state boards? Whatever it is, just know that simply asking a question opens up the door to your own intuitive knowing, your own ESP, your extrasensory perception. I really think I want to bring that back. Years and years ago, ESP was the, if you will, description for things psychic. We didn't say psychic, which meant medium, which meant trans-channel, which meant transsentient, which meant 20,000 different things. We said extrasensory perception, which I think is more exacting because this is what it is. Your awareness, whether you hear it, whether you see it, whether you sense it, whether you feel it, whether you dream it, all is extrasensory, meaning it's just outside of the spectrum of your five senses. But it is that sixth sense. It is a part just on the precipice of your knowing. And every single person, as I said earlier, has a degree of this. Okay, another simple way that you can enhance your own abilities is before you go to sleep at night, give yourself a command. Not like, oh, you have to do this, but a gentle command to say to yourself, I am now opening to my own extrasensory perception, or I am now opening to my own intuitive abilities, or I am now remembering. And this is a fun one. When you tell your mind that it is remembering something, it will dig as deep and as far as it needs to access information. And oftentimes that memory is not from the present, not from this moment. It is from your soul. It is from a place beyond this moment that you connect with. And what's fun about that is sometimes you'll tap into past lives. Little things that you can do. A lot of my classes will tell you that I like quick and easy when it comes to learning. Don't get me wrong, studying something fervently that you really love is also wonderful, because if you're passionate about it and you have time, that's great. And what I would say to those who really have the time to explore, do so. Take a look at what's out there to learn, to grow yourself, to grow your abilities. If that's where your interest lies, attend as many programs as you can, read as many books, listen to audio, get on webinars, take a class that's interactive that promises to build your own abilities. Call me for the apprenticeship program. I'm giving you options here. The idea is psychic ability exists, and it's a matter of if you want to develop it, how you go about it. Now, you can study and study and study for years, or you can begin to see a window opening, which gets you excited, and then you move from there. I'll give you an example. I have a lovely lady that I know who's client, friend, student, I think combination. And she just recently started studying cartomancy, specifically angel cards. And if you're curious about the term cartomancy, it has to do with laying down of cards and interpretation and psychically bringing information, is connecting. Angel cards specifically are supposed to be to connect with your angels. So, there's a particular pattern. But cards are cards when it comes to studying their interpretation and their meaning and tying them together. And then again, not. And when I train with somebody, it really has more to do with what does it feel like? What does it look like? So if you are starting to learn about cartomancy, whether it's tarot, whether it's Egyptian cartomancy, whether it's angel cards, no matter what it is, oracle cards, don't just go by the book. Don't take out that card and say, oh, it means. Do yourself a favor. Hold the card to your heart. Ask yourself what you feel. The idea is there is more inside of you than you know. I thank you for tuning in this evening. Please check on the events at HalleyElise.com. Remember, Psychic Gallery, first Monday of the month, and we'll see you next week. Good night.
Be enchanted and delighted. Connect each week here on WNN for the Halley Elise Show. Also on Facebook and at HalleyElise.com. Thanks for tuning in.